Hey guys, today I am reacting to a video that it seems like everybody on the internet loves. Here we go. Okay, real quick, I love this front door. I love the front door. I love what they did with that hardware, that gold hardware in the middle. We've done that before. It's a lot harder to actually pull off because it's not the actual door handle that opens the door. And so it's a little tricky. I gotta go back and see exactly how they did that so that it works. But I think that's a really cool idea. Oh, wow. That doorbell is next level cool. So I'm from Baton Rouge, Louisiana, and in big plantations and older homes, they used to have a doorbell system similar to what they have for their front door, but different doorbells had different tones to let you know where people were in the house. I think that's a pretty cool element. I've never actually seen that in someone's modern day home. That's normal to be moving in when the house is not 100% completely done. Newsflash, if you're building a custom home or you've built one, you know. Okay, real quick, so you can see right there in their vestibule, their mini entryway, it looks like they've got two doors. They've got a main front door and then you walk into a vestibule that maybe has a second door. I've seen that a bunch. A lot of times if you've got a really pretty glass front entry, you'll need a solid door just to block that so that if you're walking to and from at night in your underwear and it's light inside your house and you've got big glass windows, if someone's walking their dog out front, they can see you. So I kind of like the idea, I've thought about this before, of having that two front doors or kind of a vestibule or a second entryway. You can also see in this picture where I've got it paused, you can actually see the Mortise Lock, the actual thing that locks the door. If you like this front door and you like the front center hardware, it's an English thing. You can see this in Europe a lot. You can see it in London. But you can see in the left-hand side of that doorknob, that's what actually is keeping that door locked. So if you don't have that and all you have is the fake door handle in the middle here, your door is useless. So. Okay, so a couple things that I love about this room. I love that paneling. That's really cool. Okay, here's another couple things that you can do with this stain that's somewhat different that you see in different regions. So there's a staining technique called shoshugibon. We did a video on Instagram. Check out our Instagram Codes Homes where we talk about shoshugibon. You can see that at Delta Millworks as well. And it's ultimately this old, really cool Japanese technique of burning wood that actually can give you that same color that they did. They've done here, but they did it with a stain. But I think this is really cool. I also love the moody feel idea. In today's market, you just see bright and white everywhere. And I do think what she's saying about a cozy dark room is so cool and so different. But I also think one of the things about that study that she just showed, those huge tall ceilings, it's not gonna give you a cozy feel. So dark, sensual, moody, dark tones, the way you do your furnishings really provides that cozy feel. But then those high ceilings are really going to take away from that. So I don't know that if I was trying to do something cozy and creative and really comfy that's going to give you a hug, I wouldn't do a really tall ceiling like that.
But we wanted just like a really cozy, dark front room. Right when you walk in, we have this.
I love that paneling on the ceiling. It is really different. You don't see that a ton.
Paneling on the ceiling and this paneling on the walls. So we love that all these horizontal lines draw you into the home.
Okay, so real quick, you can see behind her left hand where she has her light switches. So that's something that we do a lot different. We put them at it's called museum height. And ultimately it's a lower place to put the light switches to where if you have your hands down on your hips or just like swinging by your side like in normal just standing position, if you were to reach your finger out and press the light bulb or the light switch, that's where we usually put them. Not everybody likes that. Someone that's really, really tall is gonna like them where they have them, but where they have their light switch is just standard. And so I think anytime we're building a custom home, we're trying to elevate our game. We're trying to elevate anything away from standard to custom.
Kind of an art gallery feel. So the great room is just back here.
That's kind of interesting that the bedrooms are off of the entryway. I can't tell from the floor plan fully, but that's what it looks like from looking out those windows.
This beautiful starburst chandelier in here that she picked out and she loves it. We really like the layout of Jack and Jill bathrooms.
So real quick, I love how they're doing the hardware on the doors exposed, not painted. They're square. There's 4 of them. It looks like they're brass. That just elevates the game. Once again, it's a little thing. It doesn't cost a lot of money, but it just elevates the game and the look of the house.
Her vanity here and her closet with this nice big window. From here, we transition into a shared bathroom that she and Hudson will share. So they both.
I can't tell what kind of windows those are. That's obviously in the kids' closets, but I do like just the look of those. It looks like it's kind of a different window that might open or operate in a little different way. I think those look pretty cool, and I do like. I'm a fan of doing the darker windows in and out. But it seems like trends come and go, and so one thing to think about is will that window color, will that be trendy? Will that be something that comes and goes, or will that be classical forever?
They have their own vanities, then they share a tub and toilet.
I've always loved the mirror you got for Amy.
So this is a Jack and Jill bathroom.
So they're talking about Jack and Jill bathrooms for kids. Something that I think about a lot is that Jack and Jill is usually a way to save money, it's a way to save space, and it is all of that. But I always think about it for my clients. If we're gonna do a Jack and Jill, if you just wanted to do an extra bathroom for your kids' room where each kid has their own bathroom, unless you were just intent on them sharing a bathroom, it's really not that much more expensive to do a sink, countertop, some more cabinetry, another toilet, another shower. It's not that expensive to add another bathroom in this setting, and so it's just something to think about from a resale perspective.
Shared part of the bathroom, and then we will transition into Hudson's.
Love those cabinets and his vanity. I like differentiating a vanity for the boy and the girl if you have 2 different kids with different genders.
For a little boy, I think, but someday he and Desmond will probably share this room, which will be really fun. Here is Hudson's room.
I think some of the things with kids' rooms is people go so big and they're just wasted. Their cabinets, I think those look like good sizes.
Fun when they're little. I can see Emmy when
But I do like, now that I'm seeing it, the kids' bedrooms going back to the entryway, I really like that.
We have a nice little linen closet. Super
Smart, just to keep extra linen, extra bedding.
Repeat of the flooring in our vestibule in here. I love herringbone.
It's interesting, people talk about herringbone, chevron, and it's just like it always strikes a chord. It's always interesting for people. They always go goo gaga over it. So that's always good from a resale perspective, I think, especially if you like it.
That, as we were planning the house, we were the most excited about.
This is interesting, I can already tell.
We have a 2-story room in here with these beautiful vaulted.
So something they did interesting right here is it looks like they didn't paint those beams. It looks like they stained them and whitewashed them. I'll tell you something interesting. I was at a client's house today. We have similar beams, not in the vault style like this, but we painted them. It's very common where we are just to paint the beams or box beams if they're not trying to be rustic. And the downside of painting beams white is when the weather systems expand and contract, expand and contract. Our houses aren't built on commercial basements, all concrete and steel. They have a lot of wood framing elements, and no matter who you are, no matter how you build a house, you're going to get expansion and contraction, especially in Texas with our soils and with rain conditions. And so when you paint things where you have those joints, when you get expansion and contraction, it's going to break apart those joints where they've been bondoed, puttied, and painted over, and you're going to get crack out, is what we call. That's always going to happen. That's not the quality of the build. And so what's cool about the idea of staining it white or whitewashing it white versus painting it is you're not going to get that crack out. It's not going to, there's nothing to break apart because the stain is essentially impregnated into the wood versus being painted on top of it.
We wanted our fireplace to be the focal point, and that same grid pattern that you saw in the library.
Yeah, I like that. That's different. I mean, ultimately, I really like the black cabinets, and I like that stained grade clear coat white oak on the left and the right is what it looks like, white oak. I'm not sure yet, 100% yet, but I really like that. Something to think about when you have a vaulted ceiling is you're trying to do something with a vaulted ceiling to bring your eye down. What's interesting here is that that same trim detail element that you saw earlier in the study, they really brought it up all the way up the chimney. And so that to me is like making my eye go up a little bit. So it'll be interesting to see where they put their TV.
We hope that this will be a really cozy but spacious place for us to entertain. I get a kick out of having a space that's really functional and appliances and storage.
So one thing that's super interesting is they've got that same shiplap. It's not shiplap, but paneling. It looks like the paneling is like floating. It's on some type of sleeper system that's really cool. It's really different. I haven't seen what they've got on their ceiling. I like that a lot. But what's interesting is the fridge, freezer, and how lacquered it is compared to the natural woods. It's an interesting juxtaposition.
More modern. And then as soon as we started looking
But then they've got that brick, which
and the glossy white cabinets.
they got a lot going on in
Really
here.
excited about
But
it. So we're happy about the way
they
it
did a
came
good
together.
job.
This is our fridge and freezer. I'm so excited to have way more real estate than we've ever had for a fridge and
something
freezer.
to think about is just functionality. So at the end of the day, you know, when you're building a home, custom building a home, you're balancing form and function and beauty, right? So how you live in a house, what you do in a house, and then how beautiful it is. Sometimes you can go too far on the beautiful side and you regret it. Sometimes you can go too formal, too functional, too usable, and then it's not beautiful at all and you regret it. I think the only thing I would think about on that fridge freezer is just like the smudge marks. I've got 5 kids. You know, what kind of smudge marks, what kind of wear and tear is that fridge freezer going to have?
And the top one has convection, which I love for baking. Over here, we have a microwave drawer. This is going to be interesting with the kids being able to access the microwave down low.
Everyone says that microwave drawer, oh, my kids are going to be able to access it. What are they going to do? Like put in a bowl of water and turn it on and the water's going to boil. Everyone seems to freak out about that and like worry about that. She's not freaking out, but that's not something I worried about. That's absolutely the standard, and I wouldn't do anything other than that.
To go with for a long time. We ended up doing an
Okay, so I like the cooktop. Induction, not induction, doesn't matter to me. The downside to induction is you've got to go buy some different pots and pans usually for it to even work the way that conduction heat works. But I will say, like, when you look at that shot where she's talking about the convection oven or the cooktop, the vent hood above it looks really, really small and undersized for if you, like when you're cooking bacon, when you're cooking burgers on a skillet, if you don't do it, you know, inside or outside, like if you get too much steam going, everyone underestimates that. You need a vent fan above your range top or your cooktop that can really suck air.
Heats up the metals.
I like that sink. Bigger the better. I like plumbing fixtures that she's got. I like really the tones of that house, the black, the white, the brass, obviously pretty popular today. I like that. I like that one thing that we always say is the theme of 3 or like 3 colors, 3 tones, 3 of anything, like don't get too crazy. So I like how they're taking that that paneling on the ceiling, they're bringing it into several rooms. I like the black and gold, they're bringing it to several rooms, and they're not introducing 7,000 different elements. The family room has a little bit more elements because they're introducing a handful of different things than just 3, but it does tie to the study.
Yeah, I can't wait to have lots of family dinners in this space.
So what's interesting about the windows is, and now that I'm getting a better view of it, they're double hung windows. They're really challenging. Double hung windows can be really appropriate for a right home, for a right architectural style. I wouldn't have done it on a modern. I wouldn't have done it on something this clean. I don't think it's really going to provide you anything. And ultimately what's going to happen on really, really big windows that are double hung, you're going to have clips on the windows to keep that double hung, that sash, when you raise it up, you're gonna have some kind of clip, is what they call it, to keep the window up if you want functionality of airflow. I don't like that. I don't think that's gonna work out well from a functionality perspective, but it's not a horrible thing.
So this time we wanted just to do a walk-in pantry that was kind of hidden.
I love this. This is really cool. I can just tell you right now, I love, love, love this. She's nailing it right here. I mean, the idea that your pantry doesn't have a door on it and you can walk around it so it's still hidden. She's absolutely nailing it. She's absolutely thinking of everything. Obviously, I can see the water bottle filler and the drinking fountain. That is huge. Like, I cannot tell you how annoying it is when my kids go into the Sonic ice maker and then they go get their cup and then they go fill their water somewhere else. It's just like a constant. So I love this idea. We've done this several times. It's a great idea. Kids love it. Clients love doing it. So I'm a fan of open shelving in the right place. I do. I think if you don't have open shelving, you're constantly coming and going and getting in and out of cabinetry doors and drawers. I love this. What's interesting that now that I'm noticing it is look right there to her left. So not to my right, but to her left hand. If she reached back and smacked it, look at the stain in the facing of that cabinetry. It's interesting. It's almost like plywood in a way. That's just interesting. It's different. I love the tones, but I don't know. It'll be interesting to see if she says that was a mistake or that's some kind of a weird stain or maybe something goes over those cabinets. Nope, she didn't say that. So maybe that's completely normal.
Really nice. All right, next Next up, the hallway.
Okay, this is interesting. So just this hallway to the master, she's looking at just some closets in this vestibule going back to the master. But what's interesting is, as soon as they showed that shot of the stairs with the runner, I instantly thought, just my first thought was like, that does not go with the style of the house. Let's see how they pull that together. I don't think that stairs have to always, they can be fully utilitarian, but I want to look at that further. I like the storage. I like the linen closets. There's not enough of that in most homes.
So one thing I really wanted with this house is just like little nooks and crannies.
Nook and cranny. Interesting that it doesn't have a door on it. Because I think if kids do go in there, they're going to bring all their little trinkets and their toys and things of that nature. And I think it could have been cool if it had a door or a hidden door on that.
Let me show you the master. We love that our architect had this idea of putting a window seat by the side.
Okay, something I have people ask me about, and I see in people's houses, is carpet versus no carpet. I mean, 90% of the time we do wood everywhere, and then the way we soften a room up is we bring in rugs and throws and things of that nature. And here you can see that she's got carpet on the floor. It'll be a lot more comfortable. It'll be a lot more warm. Honestly, I love it. When I'm at someone else's house or a guest house or a lake house or whatever, and take your shoes off, carpet just feels good on your feet. But from a functional perspective, from a hypoallergenic perspective, from animals' perspective, having carpet in rooms is something we try to avoid if possible, but it is more affordable. Okay, so when you're doing a vault in the ceiling, it's so critical, and we forget it all the time too. It's critical to have a vault. If you don't, a beam in the vault. If you don't have a beam in the vault, then you have a vault, but you can't do much with it. So if you think about it, if you have a vault in your room and you don't have that beam, where do you hang your fan? Where do you hang your chandelier? And I've messed that up plenty of times before. They clearly did a good job there. Hey, for everybody looking to build a home, this is real world. This is the real experience. They don't have their mirror. They don't have some of their cabinet fronts on it. This is how it works. Okay, so real quick, they're talking about the door to their shower. I cannot stand showers that do not have doors on them. People do that and think it's cool and it looks cool. I've done it before for clients, done it for family members. It's cold, water gets everywhere, don't do it. Okay, so this is interesting. So you can see right there above the window, they've got this really cool Schluter break, like a brass Schluter break. It looks like it's a great way to end the tile, but then they've got sheetrock above there. Maybe they did it with waterproof Dens glass or something like that. If they did, that's smart, but that's a horrible idea to have anything that's not waterproof well, like sheetrock, like paint. It's gonna peel, it's gonna get moldy. If you don't have proper exhaustion, it's just not a great idea, but it also, this is really great stuff here. In showers, lower the ceiling. It's okay that you have big ceilings. Everyone views big ceilings and vaulted ceilings as like the gold standard, but they get carried away with it because they don't know what they're doing. They're not professional. Lower the ceilings in closets, in bathrooms, in showers. It just provides more coziness and warmth.
The master closet. In our last house, Shay and I had hidden hers.
So one of the things in closets you've got to do is, when you're doing a remodel, a new build, is measure the linear footage of your house and then measure the linear foot on your new build or your remodel, make sure that your clothes are going to go into the next house well. Also think about shoes, think about having a dresser in there or built-in drawers. It doesn't look like they have that. Where do you put your socks, your underwear, your linens?
Let me show you the nursery now. It's right off the master, which I
Good
love.
idea.
There's also a full
If you're gonna have a nursery right by the master, that's smart, it's convenient.
It has a cute little
Window seat, everybody loves it.
One of our workers noticed window seat. He must have thought he could stand on that. We're hoping to find him in there soon.
That stuff
There's gonna be a
happens.
cabinet box put in here, and so
I do like the windows that they're showing here. These, now that I figured it out, these slide to one side. I like them a lot better than the double hungs they've got in the dining room.
Right over it. So I plan to do a lot of fun things with this room.
Some of the things that I think when you're building home remodeling, think about where you put your plugs. So this is a bedroom, so think about where you're gonna have side tables, where you're gonna have lamps, where you're gonna wanna charge your phones if it's an adult's room, or a kid's room for an iPad or a computer just from a charging perspective. I think that's one of the most commonly missed things, because if you don't have that as well as your family room, then plugs for lamps and things of that nature, they're very visible and seen and they're ugly. If you can prevent it, try.
Okay, so
Like their wood floors. Those look like a cool pre-finished product.
And we also have some nice storage underneath the stairs. So I think this will be my dream.
So one of the things to think about is deep spaces are so wasteful, because at the end of the day, if she puts a bunch of stuff in those you know, those shelves, she can't put anything else in front of it. So that's just all that space in front of it's kind of wasted unless she really organizes that well and does something on one side of the wall only.
This is the site of our future mud bench. This is going to be the laundry room slash.
Okay, in your laundry room, always have a sink for soaking, for washing off. Kids get muddy stuff, things that you don't want in your house on their shoes, and you don't have a water hose handy outside. The sink in the laundry room, that's the go-to place. People miss that all the time. I also learned this from some of my clients. Have rods and ways to hang and dry clothes in your laundry room. You don't need a big house. You don't need a mansion to have that. You just need some space and some thoughtfulness. There's valet rods that pull out and kaleidoscope out. Those are genius for hanging clothes and drying them.
For my kids and myself, so it's going to be really nice to have.
Okay, here's another thing she doesn't have. I don't have it in my house. I totally regret it. Is in the backsplash of that space, that laundry room. There's no tile. There's nothing on the backsplash. It looks like just sheetrock. It's a horrible idea because when you're ironing, when you're cleaning clothes, when you're throwing things around, it's a utilitarian space, the laundry room. It just stains that backsplash, meaning any wall behind a countertop. So countertop here, backsplash here. If you don't have a tile or something you can wipe off, like sheetrock and paint, like that's not a great idea. I did it at my house. I regret it.
So this is kind of a big all-purpose.
Ooh, I like that
We have some
rec room. It's huge, and I love
and right back here
that.
is where the theater setup will be.
Theater setup.
Surely you know that's why we built the whole house.
I like that.
For shade,
And it
that's
looks
the
like
hardest
you can see in the floor behind her, she's got that plug. So they have thought through a lot of these things that I think they clearly
So
did a
right over
great
here to the
job.
right is the
You can see that plug in
room.
that
We have
scene right there.
These barn doors, which I love. 'cause
Oh,
you can-
I also love the idea on a barn door, pocket door, of having slow close glides. So I don't know if you can do it that easily on a barn door setup, but always do that. Didn't do it in several of our houses, and I regretted it because it's such an inexpensive feature, but it is so nice when you throw that pocket door open and you don't have to hold it from banging. It just shuts and then gradually closes or
shut
shuts
off
all the
the
way.
space, or you can keep it a lot more open concept.
Most people
We
love
how this room
spaces
turned out.
like this that
I
have
adore
funky,
adding
unique
trusses
ceilings,
and
like they have their dormers cutting into it like she's saying. Seems like a genius idea that they did this. And I love what she's talking about right now. So if they wouldn't have added that, what we call pony wall, which is just like essentially a fake wall that creates a space behind it. So if they didn't do this, that space would have just continued to vault down and not be that usable. And so by doing this pony wall, it created closet space, it looks like, for storage. That's a genius idea.
That's what we ended up doing here. We just have some little toy closets that will have some cabinet doors on them. Over here, we have some window seats. And this also
Yeah.
doubles as great storage.
Everybody loves the window seat. Everybody.
And watch the sunset.
And I cannot tell you the secret door thing. Everybody wants it, and rarely did they use it. Sometimes they do. If there's one, I like to think about the special things. You don't need 6 special things. So you don't need 6 specialty doors. It looks like they have several little doors all over the house, little niche spaces. That's really cool. But I think you try to do one of those, and then it makes it different. More storage, great idea. More linen closets.
Bath up here. Okay, so this is our 5th bedroom.
I love that they finished this out and they could use an extra guest room for a gym. It's
That's our
smart.
empty house tour.
It's funny that people like empty house tours, but I guess it's kind of fun just to see what the house looks like before people.
They did obviously a great job. Really cool. Don't really know their story. I was surprised with this video. The first time I've ever seen it. They did a really great job. I love the tones. I love the themes. I love that they didn't go crazy with everything. They did a really good job.
Thanks for joining us on this journey so far. You guys have
Hope you guys enjoyed this reaction video. This is fun for me to do just because I'm getting to keep up with things that are really popular on the internet. In general, we try not to go to the internet to find our design themes and ideas, but this is fun just to review, react, and see what other people are doing. Hope you guys enjoyed.